Hey, this is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about the press conference between Caleb Plant and David Benavidez. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now to subscribe to the channel. If you have done so, thank you. Much appreciated. If you have not done so, it only takes a second. You can just click that button. Also, while you're clicking that button, if you can hit that thumbs up button, it really does help support and further along this channel. Let's jump back into this. It was a good press conference, very tense. A lot of things have been said. I've never seen David Benavidez as riled up before. And he's one of those people, let me say it like this. He's one of the guys, he could take it to another place. Like, it doesn't have to be boxing. He could take it to another place. And that press conference was just a reminder of what's inside of him, the fire that's inside of him. And it came out. And they've had, Caleb Plant and David Benavidez, they've had several run-ins. One in a gym, one at the hotel. There've been a few run-ins. And I gotta give it to Caleb Plant, like, he's a very composed individual. Now, so here's my thing. Psychologically speaking, here's my thing. I think aggression and anger can work for the right individual. Perfect example, Jamal Charlo, Marvin Hagler. It can work for you. James Toney, it can work for you. If you know how to properly harness it, it can work for you. Muhammad Ali, it can work for you if you know how to properly harness it. It doesn't work for everybody. Some people, they get angry and it's not going to benefit them. Now, David Benavidez, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how he fights because he's talking like he just wants to rip off the head of Caleb Plant. So it's going to be interesting to see this fight. I don't know how exactly it's going to play out in that sense because, again, we're talking about a boxer and we're talking about a puncher. We're talking about somebody with extremely fast, heavy hands and David Benavidez. And we're talking about somebody with unbelievable fluid movement and creativity in Caleb Plant. So it's going to be interesting, because David Benavidez, he's a big dude for the division. He's a solid guy. And that's going to be tough. That's a tough challenge for anybody, okay? And we don't necessarily have to talk about resumes or anything like that because David Benavidez was sparring Triple G when he was young. So just saying that alone, we don't need to get into resumes or anything like that. But I think this is going to be a very interesting fight. Now, this is where I think the anger of David Benavidez could backfire. And hear me out as I say this. Caleb Plant is a very smart, very conventional, very out-of-the-box thinking fighter. He likes to set traps. He has a lot of movement, a lot of feints, just to get his opponent to react or step into something. And if you're going in full throttle with that much anger, resentment, and overall hatred for your opponent, it could work against you because you could literally do everything that Caleb Plant is setting you up for. Listen, punching power is one thing. Timing and accuracy equals punching power. So do I hit as hard as you? No, I don't hit as hard as you. I don't have to. I'm accurate. And I have great timing, period. I'm accurate, I have great timing. If I find the right place to hit, I guarantee what I hit is going to go away. It's going to go to sleep, okay? And that's what this fight could potentially be for David Benavidez if he doesn't cool himself down. And I feel like he's entirely way too riled up at this point where the fight, in terms of where the fight is scheduled. You're way too riled up. David Benavidez is riled up like the weigh-in is tomorrow. And it's like you have way too much tension built up in you. Now, yeah, I get it. You can take it out on your sparring partners, and that's true. But that only gives Caleb Plant more time to analyze you and more time to mentally bake you. I think another part of what gets David Benavidez a little annoyed, it reminds me of Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall is not a trash talker or anything like that. But it's not necessarily what she's saying. It's the subtleties in which she says things that was getting under the skin of Clarissa Shields. And when you look at Caleb Plant, he doesn't scream. He's not a boastful person, but he's very mellowed, tempered, very calm voice. And I think that's working also in the mind of David Benavidez. It's just, but I also think Caleb Plant knows what he's doing. I think he knows this is not the type of opponent that I give that back to, because that could backfire on me if I give it back to him. I need to dig in the screws by killing him with softness and kindness. Not necessarily kindness, because he is saying he's going to beat him up. But Caleb Plant, at least in interviews, has been very vocal saying, David Benavidez is a great fighter and it's going to be a really big test, things of that nature. He is giving him, basically showing him the respect of his own awarded accolades. That's all. But I think that in itself is annoying David Benavidez. And I think Caleb Plant knows it's annoying David Benavidez. And I would definitely say that, Caleb Plant has just bought some property in the mind of David Benavidez, because the whole Benavidez family and crew can't keep it together every time this man's around. Not the father, not the brother, not the sister. Like, nobody can keep it together. Everybody's rowdy. Everybody's riled up. And you look at Caleb Plant, and he's like, he's just like, whatever. The hills are alive with the sound of music. He doesn't care. He doesn't care, because he's like, listen, we got to fight anyway. This guy wants to take it outside, but I'm not going to give him, I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm just going to give you just enough to continue to hate me. Just enough to continue to be fiery about me and passionate about this fight. Just enough to where, you're punching holes in the wall because you have to wait until this date to get your hands on me. But that's great, because once you get in the ring with me, I want you to be wild. I want you to be untamed. I want you to be overly aggressive. I want you to just run at me, so I can use my timing, so I can use my speed, so I can use my footwork and create a masterpiece. For guys like Caleb Plant, who's all about speed and accuracy and creativity, that jab, it's going to work in his benefit to get under the skin of his opponent. David Benavidez has all the tools to win, and I'm not saying he's not going to win. He has all the tools to win. But coming in this hot, I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a safe thing. Let me say it like this: if you're that hot, maybe you should have your dad get up and speak. Let him do all the screaming and cursing and carrying on, while you stay there cool, calm, and collected. And let him think about what's going on in your mind right now, as opposed to you're trying to dig deep into his mind with insult. I think that would frustrate Caleb Plant more than you screaming and threatening. Because that would make Caleb Plant think, well, what's he doing that he's so confident, that he's so patient, that he's so calm demeanored? That would make him think the land that Caleb Plant has purchased in David Benavidez's head. I think David Benavidez could sell that house and then buy some property in Caleb Plant's house, in his head. That's what I think. If he would just pump his brakes and let somebody else speak. Because every time he speaks, he explodes. Every time he speaks, he's threatening to fight. Every time he speaks, he's trying to stare you down. Every time he speaks, he's trying to walk you down. I think this is going to be a good fight. This is going to be a really, really good fight. I think this is going to be a candidate of fight of the year. I got to be honest, though. I do not think the aggression that that David Benavidez is displaying, I just don't think it will serve him in the end on the night of. I think he really needs to cool down. I think they need to rework how they're doing these press conferences, because I don't think it's going to serve him the way he thinks it's going to serve him. That's what I think. I think I'm a big fan of, listen, I don't mind trash talk. I really don't. Listen, I mean, after all, you guys are going to be punching each other in the face, right? So I don't necessarily mind trash talk. But when you get yourself so overly worked up and you still have so much time before the actual fight, what are you going to do with all the energy? Yeah, you're going to say sparring partners. The only difference is those sparring partners are not the guy you actually want to punch. So yeah, sparring partners, yeah, well that just gets out testosterone, but that fire and that aggression and that hatred is still there. That doesn't get that out. Him getting his hands on the guy that he's scheduled to fight gets that out. But the fight is kind of out there. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a good fight. I've said it before. I think Caleb Plant has he's a lot more creative. He's a lot more creative. The Durrell fight showed me once again why Caleb Plant is such an underdog. There are a lot of layers to that onion, and I think this upcoming fight with David Benavidez will peel a lot of those layers. I really do think that. I feel like the Canelo loss and the way Plant fought with Durrell, standing his ground a lot more. Now, granted, Durrell doesn't have the power that David Benavidez has. I totally get that. He also doesn't have the mass that David Benavidez has. I totally get that. But I think something psychologically has changed inside of Caleb Plant. One is always gone. And I always think when a guy's always gone, he's personally more dangerous because that thing that you hold so precious is gone. That illusion that you had about that O is gone. Once that O is gone, you can never get it back. So now, I'm not saying he's going to throw caution to the wind, but there is a sigh of relief. And now I'm just free to express myself in total comfortability within me in the ring. So yeah, I think it could be dangerous for David Benavidez. I do. And, it's not like Caleb Plant's the most impactful fighter of today or anything like that. I think this fight is extremely important. This fight, potentially the winner will get their hands on Canelo or be a runner-up for, one of Canelo's titles. I think what Caleb Plant has learned about himself from that Canelo loss, because he had a lot of spots, but on top of that, he didn't fight the way he fights. I think moving forward, Caleb Plant is always going to be Caleb Plant, and he won't let anything or anyone dictate him displaying Caleb Plant. And I think when Caleb Plant is 100% and he's 100% healthy, dialed in, and conditioned, he's a very difficult fight for anybody he steps in there with. Those are my thoughts. I think the same for David Benavidez, but once again, this thing has gotten really personal, really quick. And if all you're thinking about is clawing his face off, you're not going to be thinking about the things he's planning or setting you up for. And that's what I think is dangerous. That's pretty much what I have for the press conference. Overall, I just thought it was a good press conference. I mean, you have to get people excited about this, and marketing is everything. And I think they both did that. If they're trying to get the last minute sales or whatever, I think mission accomplished. But this thing it's personal. And this is the type of personal vendetta where after the fight, it still won't be okay. I'm talking Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo, I still don't like you type of, it's not going to be okay. That's what I think about this. But I look forward to this fight. I think this fight is going to have everything that you and myself have been clamoring for. And yeah, I just can't wait. Drop your thoughts down below. Tell me what you think, what you thought about the press conference. Tell me, do you think that David Benavidez and his anger and hatred for Caleb Plant, do you think that could be something that could cloud him on the night of the fight? Drop your thoughts down below. Again, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please like, please share, please subscribe to this channel.